Hey, what's up everyone? This is Rhino in the Handyman Garage, and today, this weekend, I'm going to be putting the front clip back on this car. As you can see here, I've got it kind of laid out on the floor, just about ready to go. I've been cleaning up some of the excess dirt and buffing compound and things like that out of the cracks and along the edges. But you see here, I got my gaskets, my seals, my bolts, all that good stuff all laid out, ready to go. But first, I've got to put the body mounts back on, so I've got all these laid out right here. This guide shows me exactly where everything needs to go. This is provided by Dan Chuck when I bought their kit quite a bit ago. But so got the car up, jacked up a little bit, the body, so I'm going to get to work on putting the body mounts in, and then we'll start working on getting the fenders and inner fenders and all that stuff put together, and hopefully on the car by tomorrow, late tomorrow. So yeah, so stay tuned, and then we'll keep going and we'll see how it goes. All right, back here for day 2 of getting this front clip put back onto the car. Yesterday was mostly spent cleaning up the fenders and inner fenders and all that stuff, touching up some of the paint. But we ran into one problem here, and that's with the body mounts, and that was this body mount that's down here. This was the bolt in it was stuck and broke, so I'm currently grinding out that mount, that nut, and then I'll weld in a new one. It's a little bit of a challenge just because it's sitting inside of a pocket. So anyway, we'll be working on that today, getting that wrapped up, and then hopefully start working on getting all this stuff together and piece together, put the seals on and gaskets and whatnot, and get them all back on this car. All right, so I got all the body mounts done on the car. As you can see here, nice, new and clean. This is my second set since I've had the car. The originals that were long gone, but the ones that I put on after that are now scattered about my garage floor. So next up, we're going to start working on getting the front end together. All right, so I'm preparing the inner fenders with the proper seals, and it requires you to cement them. So I'm just using some binder clips to hold the seal in place while the cement cures. Same over here. Next up, we're going to be doing the fender arm dust shields. All right, it is day 3 here on this front end project, and yes, it's not complete yet because when I purchased this kit, this Fender anti-squeak gasket kit, it was missing a critical part of the Fender gasket anti-squeak, which runs along this edge right here. This edge meets up with the inner side of the fender, and for some reason they did not include that, so I had to buy a separate kit that only includes this Fender anti-squeak gasket, which should be in this kit. Hint, hint, whoever manufactures these. Soft Seal made this kit, and this other kit was purchased by Dan Chuck. I actually purchased 2 kits. The second kit I bought from Woody's was another Soft Seal kit. So softseal.com, Soft Seal Company, please include this kit, this Fender anti-squeak kit, in your Fender anti-squeak gasket kit. So we're going to be putting that on now, and hopefully we're going to start getting some of these parts installed on the car. All right, so it's kind of hard to see on these, but you'll see that that's got a little gap in it, but these are all sealed all the way down. So I just got to split this loom apart, and then what we do is we're just going to start working this on all the way up to where it should be, and it's going to fit just like that onto the Fender So that's the way it'll fit all the way up. We're gonna glue that with some 3M weather strip and gasket adhesive, and should be good to go. All right, so progress. I got the inner fenders on, the core support, the radiator support. So now the challenge is to figure out how to get these mounted in there. I'll be consulting my assembly manual to figure it out, but I'm pretty sure that one there goes on the passenger side because it's got that side duct to it. All right, so before I do any of this stuff, it looks like I've got to run the grommet into the firewall so I can add in the cable pulls for the fresh air. So I'm gonna do that first, and then I can start working on these two pieces, and then these will come later. All right, so here it is, day 4, I guess it is, to get this front end of this car on here. And it's been a long process because of this little thing right here. This is the Firewall grommet for the cables. I need 2 of them. I only purchased 1. So when I went to go purchase a second one, I bought it with the Firewall pad, which is now in the car. And when the Firewall pad arrived with this supposed to be in it, it wasn't. The Firewall pad box was opened at the bottom and the grommet was not in there. So I had to call Woody's and say my part was missing, but you know, they weren't too excited about sending a $2.50 part out. So about a few weeks later, I said, hey, has this shipped yet? And they said, no. So I said, well, I'll make it worth your while. And so I put in another order. So I ordered the car mirrors with the LED lights on it, the side mirrors. And I said, put the grommet in that box. Okay, so they sent the box out. The box arrived, and there was no grommet in that box again. It was shipped separately. It was shipped by USPS, and it took another 5 days for that one to arrive. So this order for this little stupid grommet was placed back in, I think, the end of September, and now here it is, the beginning of November, and it's finally here. I could put the grommet in, I could put the cables in, I can attach the cables to the to the fresh air vents, and I can start putting back the fenders and all that stuff, the firewall supports in, get everything else in there, and finally get these things off of this side of the garage and back onto the car so I can get them out of the way, because I need to get my snowblower in here because it's going to start snowing here very soon. So that's where we're at now. That's what I'm going to do today, is get as much done as I can on getting the front end put back together so that I can move on to dropping the transmission out and getting the torque converter installed in the transmission, the flex plate installed on the engine, blah, blah, blah. Get the starter motor in there, and then start wiring this thing up, etc., etc. So that's where I'm at today. Hey everyone, it's day 5 now, I think. As you can see, got the fenders on, inner fenders as well. What I ended up doing was I took off the inner fenders, then attached them to the outer fenders off the car, and then put the whole assembly back on the car. It was much easier. I was having a little bit trouble of lining everything up when I was attempting to do it with the inner fenders already on the car. So the inner fenders and outer fenders are now on, and the core's in there. I don't think I'm going to keep this core support. I'll probably eventually change it out, but for now it needs to do its job, so it's going to stay in there. And then my project for today is just getting the rest of the splash pans installed, and probably getting the gap. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the gaps done yet. The final gaps on these, as you can see here, I've probably got about a quarter of an inch, and I got to get these up. I don't think I'm going to do that just yet. This front end may come off again at some point in the future. But the lower fenders are gapped properly. I put the gaps in there, put the washers in there for the gaps, but not on the top. So they're just a little bit off still. And then, so yeah, I got the splash pans to go in, the hood support, the hood latch, all that stuff will probably go in today. And then you see right there, I did buy the side mirrors. However, you know, when you put a new door skin on, there's no holes for the mirrors. So I'm gonna try and figure those out, make sure that I get the holes for the mirror correct, the mounting holes, and then I'm sure they got a wire to pass through because those are with the LED turn signals on them. So that's my task for today. Hopefully after five work days, but it's more like 40 days that I've been waiting to get this front end back on, that I'll have a complete front end. The hood's not going to go on just yet. I do need an extra pair of hands for it. So maybe just ask my neighbor or something to come on over and help me out with that. We'll get the hood on just to get it out of the garage for now, but that will most likely come back off again in the future. And then maybe later today I'll have some time to fire up the snowblower because the snow is going to be coming soon. I'll fire up the snowblower, make sure it's running properly. Last year I had to tear apart the carburetor and everything to get all the gum out of it. Something I didn't know is, you know, to treat these things before you put them away for storage. So that's what I did this past summer. So hopefully this winter, when I fire it up, it'll be all good to go and start being able to blow some snow off the driveways. So that's where I'm at now. Oh, and I might I put the door handles on without gaskets, so I'll probably pull those off and put the gaskets that I bought for them on just to protect the paint. It's always a good idea, of course, to do that. So I'm gonna get started here. Maybe I'll take a few pictures or video on my progress for today. Yeah, so I'll get to it. All right, so a quick update here. I got the saddle splash guards in. That's these panels right here. And got the core support in. Next up is these guys here, which is the front fender splash guards. But what I did before was I put the seal on the outside. It should actually go on the inside. So had some spares. So I've got those on there now, and that's setting up. So once they're set up, I'll put those guards on. And then as far as the splash pan goes, cleaning it off, it's just really dirty and it's not coming off. It's been sitting in the body shop for quite a while, so it got a lot of crud on it. So I'm gonna actually paint it again, but it's 30 degrees outside, and it's actually about 40 now, but it's not gonna get any warmer, and not for a while. So that's gonna have to wait until I get a day that's a little bit warmed up, unless I throw some plastic around in the garage and do it inside the garage, because right now it's about 67 degrees inside the garage with the heater that I just turned off. So anyway, right now what I've done is I've moved on to the mirror, and this is the mirror holes. This is actually a 1/4 inch hole for the wire. I'm actually gonna make that out to a 5/16 hole, and then we're gonna put in a grommet. It's a 1/4 inch grommet that's somewhere around here. Anyway, it's a 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch grommet to protect the wire, and then the screws will go in it, the mirror will go on it, and then it's gonna look all pretty. All right, so I made that hole out to be a 5/16, and my grommets were sitting in my hot water so that they could be a little bit more pliable to work on. I'm just gonna work them in there. So that grommet's now in there, and we'll get that mirror mounted up. So this is the mirror here. Just the mirror there. So the wires are going to go through. The wires are going to go through that grommet. Mount up. Look all pretty cool. All right, so a final update on this front end project. It still looks pretty much the same as when I last updated, but I did get the mirrors in, so those are looking awesome right now. There's the mirrors themselves. And lastly, the front splash pan, I was able to get some paint on there. So that'll be going in last. And then next project is the torque converter, which is sitting there, along with the low-car gear shifter for the floor gear shifter. That will be the next project. In order to do that, I've got to drop the transmission, get the flywheel mounted in, and get the torque converter installed, and then we'll get this gear shift installed. So that's the update for now. It's looking good. Like I said, I won't be doing the gaps just yet. I may be pulling this apart again in the future, but that's it. So the next video that I'll probably do is for the transmission. Thanks for watching.